So if you're into Tigers and you like the early ones, this one's the perfect one for you. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and I'm going to be doing an unboxing today. We're going to have a closer look at this particular Dragon Tiger 1. This is an initial production that was used in Tunisia. So that sounds pretty specific, but Dragon have done all their research and it is indeed very, very specific. So initial production meaning it's one of the earlier models that was produced. All the tanks throughout World War II went through different levels of enhancement. Well, this is one of the first Tigers to come out. I think they used them in Kursk and then they put them out into North Africa. And these particular versions needed a few changes to work within the desert well. So you've got a few differences there. And also particular areas where, for this particular production, they're slightly different from later ones. Very subtle, but for those that are really in the know, this is very, very accurate. So it's a big box. Let's open it up and have a look inside. All right, let's just slide this open. Okay, so let's start pulling some bits out. All right, so see if it is a bit hard to see everything here. So I'll flip it around a bit. I think this has got a few of the different parts for a Tunisian. So you'll see here, these are part of the pipes for the air filters. They had particularly big air filters on the back for all the dust. You've got, these are the underside that you'll see through the grills on the engine deck. You've got some fenders. This is the door for the rear stowage panel. Then over here you've got parts of the cupola. There's a hatch for the top cupola. And then this is a front armor plate. So you've got the machine gun that comes through here, that'll be the ball mount, and then the driver's viewing side as well. And then underneath there's a few different hatches, so there'll be hatches for entering the tank, probably the driver and the radio operators. And then there's various components here. So you've got the jack, and then they've got the special hooks that they use for towing. You've got the smoke discharger holders there, which is quite unique for an early Tiger. They were all dropped off as they progressed, they weren't using them so much. And you can just see how small some of these bits and pieces are. So hence why there's a big box. Lots of small bits generally mean lots of fine detail. Okay, let's move on to the next bit. Okay, so we've got some drive parts here. You've got the sprockets. So you've got the drive sprockets here. You've got the gearboxes from the front. You've got these are the exhaust cast protectors. This appears to be part of the air filter system, which is at the back. You've got some of the shackles, the ball cover, which is the armor cover for the machine gun, and then you've got the armored cover for the driver. Spin this around, see what else we've got. Got some really nice clear parts here. You've got there's a ring section here for the cupola. So rather than having individual blocks to represent the armored view holes from the commander's cupola, it's all easily all in one there. There's some separate bits and pieces there too. So I have to have a look in the instructions and see where all these are you'll use, because there's a lot of clear bits there. And then at the back here, it's hard to recognize bits, but it looks like that looks like part of the 88mm gun. It's part of the breech. One more hatches there, and then there's the front of the gun mantlet. Okay, let's go there. All right, now I've just noticed there's another gun mantlet there, which means you've got options. So it could be for an earlier one. Quite often Dragon would reproduce a lot of these sprues, and they will have some parts that you won't use in a particular kit, which is great because a lot of people like to keep them as spares. Okay, so these look like 5 of these would probably be for, they look like the smoke discharger tubes, which are quite nice because they look like they're slide molded. So they've got the cavities in them already. No need to drill them out, anything like that. You've got the tow hook cables. You've got some of the tools. You've got the axe there. There's some lights. You got the standard wooden block, which is used for the bottom of the jack. Some more finer details here, little shackles and such. Okay, here's parts of the air filter system. quite specific for this particular early version. We'll flip it around, and this gives you a better idea of the optional mantlets. So they give you a whole heap of these. They've got only slight differences, so it'll probably be arrangement of the nuts or shape of the mantlet itself. But it's great to have all the options. So you notice here with the gunner's sight, it's got a extra armor. Okay, so there's more bits and pieces here. So this is another holder for the smoke discharges. You've got the top of the turret. Then you've got the base of the turret here. Various seats. So it looks like the inside of the turret is quite well detailed. So obviously if you've got the hatches open, you'll see a lot of stuff in there. So it's nice to have all the bits within there. Otherwise sometimes an empty turret looks a bit off. Okay, so that part there. All right, so we've got more of, this is suspension components, and this looks like rear of the turret. You've got the engine deck cover. So I guess a lot of these you can either leave it off, as in open, if you've got a engine detail drop in there. You could probably use a resin set or a Tamiya drop-in style box type one. There's more hosing type of stuff here for the filtration. You've got more of these S clamps here for the towing. Also lights, other shackles and holders. On this side you'll see there's all the suspension and the road wheels. So you've got all the suspension parts here. You've got another sprocket and then road wheels. Okay, lots of small bits and pieces. Okay, keep moving along. Still more bits. All right, so you got a lot more road wheels here. There's probably a slight difference in the road wheels we just saw. See how many components there are just for the road wheels. So you got different caps. Optional there. Let's spin this around. So there's the interior of the turret ring. There's another engine cover, so it must be slightly different to the one we saw before. You've got some more tools. So this is part of the rods for cleaning the gun. These look like more tops to the air filters, so it appears to be slightly different air filters happening there too. Okay, more spare parts. Spare parts are good. All right, we're getting some bigger bits. So here we've got the main hull. So Tiger 1 was quite a large tank. It was a heavy tank. Quite flat-sided. It was designed to be easily constructed. And then you can just see the turret inside here. So this particular turret is quite unique for this particular version. So it's got certain hatches and markings on the turret. Okay, and then that's sort of flat-sided too. You can see here, so you've got more detail on the bottom here. Access panels. And even the sculpting that's between the main hull there and the sides, the sponsons. Okay, so more bits here. Okay, so there's another turret top. Don't know exactly which one you're meant to be using, but you've just got to check your manual, but you'll have spares, plenty of spares. So it may be a simple thing like just the welds are in a different spot, thickness of the armor. You've got the top of the hull here with the air ducts for the radiators. There's a different gun mantlet. You've got different hatches. And then this would be on the back of the mantlet. Over this side, you've got some radios. So they've added a lot of detail here in the back section. This part here is the covers for the exhaust, armored covers. Got a rear section here for the hull. You've got some really fine tow ropes there that'll go on the side of the hull. Okay, now this is the final bag. Again, you got more mantlets. So I don't know how many mantlets, I've lost count. We've probably got 8 different mantlets included in this kit. You've got the grills here for the engine deck. These are all the internal torsion bar suspension. It's interesting that they've included that because it doesn't have a full interior, but I guess if you do want to add a full interior, then you've got all the bits there. There's the gun barrel. You've got a different rear deck, and then here's some of the side panels. So they've got different different mounting points for the skirts. You've got some shovels, different tools. You've got more tow ropes which go across the top of the deck, across the engine. And as you've seen with all this stuff, it's all really fine, really tight detail, and there's no flash at all. Particularly around here with all this sort of rope type detail as well. Okay, they're all the bits. So plastic bits, I should say. Got a bag here. It's got all the Photoetch. So you've got the decals at the back. You have Photoetch here. So you've got some grill for the engine deck, and then there's various reinforcing parts for around the front mud guards, and then probably also for the smoke launchers and some latches. And then there's more at the back here. There's a section of cable there. So there's plastic ones that are included, but there's also the metallic ones which will look nicer. And then there's a little bit of soft metal there. That's really impressive. There's a lot of stuff. Okay, so that's the Photoetch, and then we get onto the tracks. Okay, so these are their quite special, flexible tracks. Quite often you'll find these sort of things will be individual, but if you ever built individual tracks before, they can be quite painful. So as you can see, this is a very simple system which is interlocking. So these are just glued together, and they're flexible to a point where as you bend them, they've still got a lot of detail, so that appears to be individual. Being able to mold these so they look really nice. Just makes it a bit easier to build. You can concentrate more on the thousands of little bits in the plastic rather than the hundreds of bits per track. So that's nice. But if you really like individual tracks, I'm sure you can get a set and replace these. Okay, and then you get into the manual. So manual is quite tall. You can imagine so because there's a lot of parts and there'll be a lot of steps to go through. So go to the first bit here. So paint list across here, and then you start building up the hull. So you start with the rear end, so you're building the exhausts, and then, hang on, is that right? Yes it is. And then we're doing the road wheels, sprockets. From here you can see how many wheels are. So this was the interlevered wheel system. So this was a German setup for spreading the load across so many wheels. The only downside was if you had anything damaged on the inside, you had to take this whole section off before it could be changed. You've got the tools. There's the jack getting put together. All these things mounted on the back section, and then we start moving on to these are reinforcements for the base of the hull. You've got the armor going on the sides of the hull now. Then where do I go from here? Let's open this up. All right, so it's going to spread all the way out to here. All right, so now we're doing the top deck of the hull. You got engine grills, so you can see all the Photoetches going in here. You got the machine gun being put in as ball mount, going onto the front armor plate. You got the driver section here. Then you've got all the detail going on top. This is part of the filtration system to the engine. I'll go to the special air filters. Some more of the air filter hosing. And then you've got, there's the air filters here. So there's the twin barrel, and they're put on each side over there. Let's continue on. And then we're building the gun into the gun mantlet. So it's telling you which specific one you use. So there's a particular one for a particular regiment. There's a gun there with a full breech, so you can see all this detail within the hull. Building up the turret at the base. That's really quite detailed there with all the seats. So for the gunner and also the loader. You've got these little hatches. You've got the access hatches from the top, mounting the gun within the turret. And then here you've got the cupola getting put together. So here you've got the section with all the clear parts. It goes on, you've got the stowage bin, mounts on the back of the turret. That all gets put together, and then your simple tracks are put on. And then you've got your options here for your different markings. So North Africa, Africa core, we're using these. And you've got the different decals and how they go on. So really impressive kit. So it's probably a simplified instructions. There's a lot of parts getting put together in each step, which sort of simplifies it a bit, but you just have to be careful and watch all the part numbers as you're putting it together. But as you can see, with all this bunch of bits for a tank 35th scale, it's jam-packed full of really good stuff and lots of options, as you can see. So Dragon, still premier in kit manufacturing. It's not the newest kit, but it's still a very good kit, as you can see. So if you're into Tigers and you like the early ones, this one's the perfect one for you.